Alright guys, qualifying for the 2025 Spanish Grand Prix was completed earlier today around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, a track where pole position is incredibly important. We see more pole sitters on average go on to win the race here than even places like Monaco, so it's extremely important to qualify well here. But who did well and who did not? Well, I'm going to go through the best and the worst from Saturday's running into the 5 things that we learned from qualifying for the 2025 Spanish Grand Prix. So, first of all, Yuki Tsunoda, not a good day. I'm willing to give the guy time. I don't think that Red Bull chopping and changing their second driver is particularly helpful to both the drivers and the team. But yeah, today was kind of terrible, really. P20. Last. His teammate did a lot better, unsurprisingly. We'll speak about Verstappen very soon. But yeah, last of all, which is pretty embarrassing, really, for Tsunoda. I don't know why he was last. Just a lack of pace. That is the only reason I can give for that. He just couldn't get to grips with the car, at least. I mean, the car clearly has enough pace to qualify well. Verstappen qualified well inside the top 5 today. But Tsunoda was not only out in Q1, but dead last, which is unfortunately the kind of form that got Liam Lawson demoted. So, especially with Isaac Hadjar doing very well at the moment, I think there's going to be a few rumours. I mean, we've seen it already on the F1Chronicle.com, of course. There are a few rumours, kind of flying around about Tsunoda being replaced mid-season himself by Isaac Hadjar, which I don't think it'd help. I don't think it's the right move by any means. But yeah, he's got a extremely difficult job tomorrow to get points. I think he's going to need to get points, really. But from the back, it's going to be difficult. He's done it before, of course, did it at Imola, but yeah. Just move on, really, from that one. Not good for him. But it was a great qualifying session for Gabriel Bortoleto. P12, his highest start in Formula 1 since joining as a rookie this season. Very, very good job. Solidly beat his teammate Nico Hülkenberg. Made it comfortably into Q2 and not that far off of Q3 in a Sauber. Very, very impressive. He's got an outside shot of points. I would expect him to drop back though as the race goes on, personally. No disrespect to Gabby. You know I like him. You guys already know that. At the end of the day, he's not in the best car at all. People online are normally describing the Sauber Formula 1 car this year as a green and black tractor, which bit harsh, but I can see the logic. Personally. But yeah, good for Sauber, at least in the hands of Bortoleto. Great for McLaren, though. Third thing that we learned, it's a McLaren 1-2. Kind of as we expected, really. The Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, a traditional testing venue for Formula 1. Of course, not a place we went for pre-season testing this year. But, the drivers know it like the back of their hands. And very much, you need a great car here to succeed. You do normally see a Noah's Ark 2x2 formation throughout the running order. Although, to be fair, we didn't really see that today. Which is pretty unusual. There wasn't, aside from, the McLarens at the front, really, there wasn't really any of the other teammates that were next to each other, I don't think. Nobody who comes into mind, anyway. So, yeah, but incredible for them. Piastri and Lando Norris. Piastri got pole position by 2 tenths ahead of Lando Norris. But, yeah, the gamesmanship between the two McLarens in qualifying was fascinating to me in Q3. Normally you want to give your teammate a tow to try and help them down the pitch straight, but none of that today. None of that today between the two McLarens. Absolutely no chance of it, because they both know that realistically it was going to be one of them two on pole position. Oscar Piastri finished his hot lap, his first one, and immediately pulled over to the side because Lando Norris was trying to stick with him and get a tow for his push lap. Very clever from both of them. Great awareness as well from Piastri to spot that and not give his teammate any kind of advantage, and it worked because in the end Oscar Piastri got pole position and is the heavy favourite for the win tomorrow. But as Lando Norris knows from last year, pole position does not guarantee you a victory. It's a very long run down into the first corner. I think the longest actually of any track on the calendar. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting tomorrow between the two McLarens. But don't write off Max Verstappen and George Russell, who were 3rd and 4th respectively, and they set the exact same time to the 1,000th of a second. Incredibly close between these two drivers. It's going to be a great battle between them tomorrow. Verstappen, of course, is on an incredible run right now at the Circuit de Catalonia. I think he's won the last 3 in a row. Might be going for the 4th in a row this year. I think it is the 4th in a row he's going for this year. So it's a good track for him. He's going to have a very difficult job to try and beat the McLarens, who, like I said, were looking pretty much untouchable today. But qualifying is one thing and the race is another. Now, Fernando Alonso will be hoping for more of the same in the race tomorrow. He did manage to make it into the top 10 again for Aston Martin. Only qualifying in P10. However, he only set 1 lap in Q3. I have to assume that he only had 1 set of new soft tyres to be able to use. That's why he only set 1 lap. And he did go to P5 provisionally. With that, he was waving to the crowd side. I think he was very much hoping he was going to be a bit further up the order, but still P10 is a decent result. And please, por favor, gods of racing, give the guy some points tomorrow. I really want to see it. I'm not even that big of a fan of Fernando Alonso, but my goodness me, is he an incredible driver. Anybody who knows anything about racing has to respect this guy for his achievements in Formula 1, and you just want to see him score points. He can't go pointless through this season. He can't be outscored by Lance Stroll. It can't happen. I'm not allowing it. It is not feasible. But guys, those were the 5 things that we learned from qualifying today. What were yours? Let us know in the comments below. Who's getting the win tomorrow? I said that it was going to be Oscar Piastri before the weekend started, and I'm sticking with that, especially since he got pole position today. But of course, Lando Norris cannot be discounted, just like Russell and Max Verstappen as well. But yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this, guys, and have a fantastic day wherever you're on the world today, guys, and we'll see you very soon for some more Formula 1 content throughout the Spanish Grand Prix weekend, just like this.